All right, so today the student will be able to use their knowledge of input and output in order to evaluate composite functions. When you have a composite function, that means you're going to take one function and put it inside of the other function. So basically what's going to happen is the output of one of the functions becomes the input to the other. And that will make more sense once we put it into play. If we're going to compare this to what we did with operations of functions. Operations of functions, you took two functions, say f and g, and those were made up of x variables, and you added them together, or you subtracted them. So you took all of f and all of g and then put together what you could. Today, we're not doing that. Instead, it's going to look more like this. We're going to put g inside of f because it's inside of those parentheses. Here, yesterday, f and g were in the same parentheses. But if f and g are in different parentheses, then you are putting this g inside of f. So it's going to look different. The notation is different, but I wanted you to kind of recognize that even though it looks like similar notation, it's a very different situation. So let's do this first one. It says that we're going to take f of g of 4. You need to do these inside out. So start with the inside and finish with the outside. So we are first going to find what is g of 4, okay? Well, g of x is 2x minus 2. So g of 4 means that the input, instead of the input being x, my input is 4. So everywhere I see an x, I'm going to input the number 4. So I have 2 instead of x, I have 4 minus 2. Okay, now simplify. So g of 4, so my function g, when I use the input of 4, is equal to 2 times 4 is 8, and 8 minus 2 is 6. So g of 4 equals 6. Okay, if g of 4 equals 6, then we're going to take that answer, now that we know what it is, and we are going to put that inside of f. So if I want to find f of g, g of 4, I'm going to take the g of 4 out and replace it with what I know it's equal to. So now I have f of g of 4 we found is equal to 6. So what just happened was I put an input of 4, I got an out, so that we put that in. I got an output of 6. But 6 now is inside the parentheses. So 6 became my input, and I need to know what the new output is. So that's what it means. We found the output of the first one, and we made that the input of the second. Or we found the output of the inside term, and now we need to find the input of the outside. So now we're just going to find f of 6. So if I want to put 6 in place of f, I'm going to, or 6 inside of f, I'm going to take all the x's out and replace them with 6. So I have 2 instead of x, I have 6 squared, plus 4 instead of x, I have 6, minus 6. So instead of x being the input, 6 is the input. So 6 squared first, so 2 times 36, plus 4 times 6 is 24, minus 6. 2 times 36 is 72. 72 plus 24 minus 6 is 90. So f of 6 is 90, which means that the function f of g of 4 is equal to 90. So you're just working inside out, okay? Number 2, still using the same f and g, but they're flipped. So g is now my outside function, and f is my inside function. So make sure you know which one's inside, which one's outside. So we're going to start with our inside function, f of negative 2. So f of negative 2 equals, we're going to take f, and we're going to replace all the x's with negative 2. So 2 times negative 2 squared, plus 4 times negative 2 minus 6. Negative 2 squared is 4, so 2 times 4. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8, minus 6. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 6 is negative 6. So when I use 2 as the input, I got 6 as the output. So now if I find, I'm going to G now. g of f of negative 2. Well, I just found that f of negative 2 is equal to 6. So I'm going to take this f of negative 2 out, replace it with what it's equal to. So it is equal to 6. So I'm really finding g of 6. So the output of my inside one became the input of the next. So g of 6 is equal to, so take your g function, replace all the x's with 6. 2 times 6 minus 2. 2 times 6 is 12. 12 minus 2 is 10. Okay, now, so our answer is 10. Oh, sorry, that's wrong. It's not a 6, it's a negative 6. I wrote that wrong. Because our output here that I circled was negative 6. So we need negative 6 as the input. Okay, my bad. So 2 times negative 6 is negative 12 minus 2, and negative 12 minus 2 is negative 14. So g of negative 6 is negative 14, which means that the whole thing, g of f of negative 2, gives us negative 14. Inside out. Do the inside problem and then put that answer in the outside problem. All right, let's find f of g of negative 5. I want you to pause the video, try this one on your own, and then come back and see if you got it right. Okay, so we're going to start with g of negative 5. So always start with your inside. G of negative 5, so g. So the x in g's all need to become negative 5. So I have 2 instead of x, I'm using negative 5 minus 2. So negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. Negative 10 minus 2 is negative 12. So g of negative 5 equals negative 12. Okay, now that is the output I got for g. It needs to become my input for f. So if I'm finding f of g of negative 5, I just found that g of negative 5 is negative 12. So I'm really finding f of negative 12. Okay? F of negative 12, we replace all the x's with negative 12. So I have 2 times negative 12 squared plus 4, negative 12 minus 6. Negative 12 squared is positive 144. So 2 times 144. 4 times negative 12 is negative 48. So minus 48 minus 6. 2 times 144 minus 48 minus 6 is going to give you 234. So when you simplify all that. So f of g of negative 5 is equal to 234. So start with the inside, work your way out. We're just putting one inside of the other. All right, now, number 4 is a little different because it doesn't give us a number to input. It still just has that our input is x. So I'm going to take g of x, and I'm going to put it inside of f of x. So if g of x is equal to 2x minus 2, there's nothing to solve because I didn't have an input value. So my output is 2x minus 2. So 2x minus 2 needs to go inside all of the x's of f. So now if I take my f, I know that f is 2. Instead of x, we're going to use our new input, but then squared, plus 4, we're not using x, minus 6. So my input is g. G is what was in, so I need to put 2x minus 2 as the input. Okay? So f of g of x, f of g of x is all this nasty stuff. So I took all of g of x and put it into f of x everywhere I saw an x. Now I need to simplify this. Okay, so we're going to start with 2x minus 2 squared. Remember that's really 2x minus 2 times itself. Okay, so 2x squared, or 2x minus 2, so 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times minus 2 is negative 4x, and then I have another negative 4x, so negative 8x. Plus 4. We're going to multiply all that to 2. Then we're going to add 4 times 2x is 8x. and 4 times negative 2 is minus 8, minus 6. When I distribute the 2, I get 8x squared minus 8x plus, 8x squared minus 16x plus 8 plus 8x minus 8 minus 6. Okay, now we have f of g of x is equal to 8x squared. The minus 16x can combine with your plus 8x, so you have minus 8x. The plus 8 can combine with the minus 8 and the minus 6, so 8 minus 6 is negative 6. So f of g of x is 8x squared minus 8x minus 6. So again, we're just taking two functions. We are putting one function inside of the other and then simplifying to see what we come up with, okay? All right, next. Now we have two new equations. So if f is 5x plus 2 and g is 2 over x minus 1, we're going to find f of g of x. So start with g of x. So g of x is equal to 2 over x minus 1. That is going to be the input. So now if we find f of that g of x, so we put g of x inside, we get, so 5, we're going to leave x out, plus 2. We're going to input g into x's place, so I left a spot for this. So 2 over x minus 1. Okay, now we just need to simplify however we can. Well, 5 times a fraction is really like 5 over 1. So 5 times 2 is 10. 1 times x minus 1 is just x minus 1. Carry the plus 2. Okay, now we could do a lot of some pretty crazy math to combine this whole number 2 with a 10 over x minus 1. But that's not really the point of what we're doing today, so we're going to leave our answer like that. So we know that f of g of x equals 10 over x minus 1 plus 2. Now, I'm going to use the exact same equations, but now I want g of f of x. So I'm going to do it in the other order. So I'm going to start with f of x equals 5x plus 2. And I'm going to put that into g of x. So g of f of x. So the same functions, but it's going to give me a different answer because I'm putting them in an opposite direction. So when I start with f and I put f inside of g, we're going to take g. We know g is 2 over. I'm going to take out the x and then keep the minus 1. Okay. Inside of where x used to be, I'm going to put f because I'm putting f inside of g. So I put 5x plus 2 where there was an x. So now I have 2 over 5x plus 2 minus 1. The only thing I can do here is combine these like terms on the same level. 2 minus 1 is 1. So we have 2 over 5x, 2 minus 1 is 1. Okay, now, I can't simplify that fraction anymore because I have 3 parts, 2, 5, and 1, and those aren't divisible by the same number, so that's as simple as I can get. So I have g of f of x equals 2 over 5x plus 1. So again, some of the key things you need to remember. Start on the inside and work your way out. The other thing you need to remember is that we are just taking one function and putting it inside of all of the x's of the other. So take your x's out and replace them with what you were given inside. And that's it.